Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like this will be a longer video than usual. Why? Because I will try to cover everything regarding my experience that I accumulated, the knowledge that I accumulated after I attended the 2025 AmRen Conference, which was from the 14th to the 16th of November 2025 in Tennessee. I debated if I should make this video or not, and how should I title it, what should be the format, and the main thing was if I should do it. And why am I making this video? This video is not to embarrass, that's the word, unfortunately, this movement, this organization, or some of its members, maybe to embarrass one in particular. But I will not embarrass that person, because that person, I think, embarrassed himself by the way he behaved with me. This video is not about me. It's my experience with something that I believed in. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm an adult, and I have some other adults coming and telling me, Emil, you know your parents, Gigi and Tina? Yes, my biological parents, Gigi and Tina. Well, actually, Emil, those are not your biological parents. Your biological parents are Deshaun and, Shanquisha. And I'm like, and they provide me the evidence. And I'm looking at the picture, and I'm looking at the evidence. And I realize that Deshaun and Shanquisha are my biological parents and not Gigi and Tina. This is the shock I'm in right now. I'm not a baboon, and I understand that we all have a worldview by which we assess life. We understand life. For instance, if I'm inclined to like, let's say, blondes more than brunettes or red hairs, whites or blacks, or I don't know, Asians more than... I know that whenever the situation arises, I will be more inclined to analyze the pleasure, the preference based on my worldview. In this case, let's say I like blondes. If I see a brunette and she's very good looking, I would say, yeah, she is, but not really. The hair is a little bit white. Personal preference. Now, here is not about personal preference, but I understand that I might be skewed. I am skewed. Not I might be. I am skewed by certain ideals and certain extent to how far we want to push those ideals. And then I judge certain actions and some people based on their actions and statements according to those ideals that they profess. I will make this is an announcement before I continue any further. I'm going to make a live show. I will make a live show. I plan it for Monday. And if not Monday, Tuesday, I will put it on my channel where I will take questions from you regarding this video. So in this video, I will say a lot of things. And I will not use names. I will use only one name. And there is obviously Jared Taylor, who is the leader of this movement, this organization. He's a fantastic individual. I have met him. He didn't disappoint. But I have a few things to share with you. And I'm not sharing them in order to minimize him. It's not for me. His actions speak for themselves. If he's going to be greater or smaller, I will have my own assessment, personal assessment, through my lenses of understanding, of my experience, whatever I know about life, my experience, and how I analyze people. Okay? Jared Taylor is a fantastic person. He's a fantastic person. I interviewed him on my channel. He did not disappoint. I met him In the past, he was kind enough to sign a book when I met him at that speech, and this is the book I bought. I paid for it. Obviously, it's his work. I have nothing against that. Obviously, I have my own books over there for sale, and he wrote this for me, right now, for Emil Kosman. Right, pop up, 2013. 2013. So I've been watching and reading Mr. Jared Taylor for, I say, at least 15 years. At least 15 years. And I agreed with him on most issues. I have to tell you, yes, he's a very smart and fact-based individual, very scientific, except on one issue. Jared, I know what I'm going to be talking about. Anyway, and that's not me. All right, it's you. And I will share that. It's right there, it's on camera. It's not that I break the news here, but that was a very unscientific conclusion you reached and you expressed in public, which is fine. It's fine. I disagree with that. And many of us disagree with that. That would not take any of your achievements away. It just casts doubt. That's all. Doubt. I am familiar with the white identity. And I'm all for it, as I am with the black identity, with, I don't know, Asian identity. Whatever identity, you should love your group, but you should not hate others. Which it seems like, as Jared said many times before, I just promote my group's interest. And why shouldn't I be allowed? You should be allowed, as everybody else. Now, Jared Taylor is not my champion in this matter. He's not. He's there, but not my champion. And probably some of you know who my champion is. And that is where the whole fallout in this American Renaissance Conference started. And that started on Sunday when I was told by a certain group that 2 books were not allowed to be put on the table for people to buy, to purchase. And that sounded to me like censorship. And that is exactly what they do to Jared Taylor and his organization, the American Renaissance. You want to call it differently, that's fine. That's exactly what they do to them. They censor them by not publishing them and by calling them names. That's exactly what they did at the conference with this particular 2 books that I'm going to talk about. I'm not promoting the books. I'm familiar with the books. But the simplistic explanation why and the dismissal for which those books were not put on the table for that group, that showed to me hypocrisy. And they dare to call that group the same term the mainstream media and the acolytes over there call them Nazi. And if you remember, Jared Taylor has this beautiful expression. It's correct. Once you start calling the debater, the adversary in a debate, names, that means you lost the argument. And Jared promoted that, and I totally agree with that. Well, I was called a clown by a person with the initials HW. The people who are in the organization know exactly who that is. A person very high up, actually, but who does not have the courage to put his name on the badge. You see that? That's my badge. That's my name. You see that? That's my name. What's my name? Emil Kosman from Michigan. I had the balls, not as an organizer, as a participant. I know these guys are infiltrated by security services, by intelligence services, and not only domestic ones. I mean, let's go without saying. So Mr. HW, give me your name. He wouldn't. He goes by as something else. He told me that. He told me that. Nevertheless, I will get back to that. So my point here is to discuss how the conference was. I have here a program. I'm not going to show you because I don't want to show you the people here. I will use only, as I said, the how do you call it? Not the names. All right, just JT, for instance, and whatever speaker was invited over there. Was invited. So let me tell you this. Each person is impressed by something that they really think that is impressive, right? Something that was done or was said that you never heard it before. It was so deep. Well, I gotta tell you, out of all this, I'm going to give initials. That was the word I was looking for. All these people who were invited to speak, which Jared Taylor was one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. From 9 speakers, Jared Taylor was good. And then we had a person from England, very good. That he was a star for me. People who participated over there, he was a star. He actually did not join in person. He was from England. I assume he was from England, and he was fantastic. Then we had some one particular person who was a how do you call it? Not a clown. I'm the clown, according to this gentleman who did not agree to talk to me, explain to me something. He said, I'm not going to talk to you. And then he called me a clown in public. I asked a lot of questions, and a lot of people came to me and told me, great question, very nice, very nice, very nice. I don't think the people, the organizers, were happy with my questions, especially this HW guy, who was I don't know, too uptight. Take it easy, HW. Take it easy. That shows confidence. All right, just so you know. Discipline, but discipline shows something else. Gestapo, to be in the same page. I don't call you names or anything, but reminded me of that kind of thing. It was a comedian, a female comedian, who said something very interesting, and I think she's right. And this is the feeling I have about this. When I made the video with Kevin McDonald, Dr. Kevin McDonald, with Jared Taylor, some of you commented that, Emil, why are you white? Blah, 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 blah. They don't consider you white. You know, the Anglo-Saxons don't consider you. Now that person, the comedian, the female comedian, was not an Anglo-Saxon. And that's in one of her half jokes, because she meant it, she said, now you guys, the Anglo-Saxon stock, are short. Therefore, you now accept us as being white with you. And I think they're right. I got this feeling. Now, again, that could be because of my, as I said, worldview. But I have never had this feeling. You know, feelings are not necessarily based on reason. I give you that. But it was the first time when I felt an outsider somewhere where I thought that actually I'm an insider. No, it will not stop me from using my brain. Actually, I'm a Dacian. So Dacians were ahead. These guys, the baboons, the Germanic tribes, Anglo-Saxons. Anglo-Saxons are newcomers in Europe. Let's put it this way. So I consider myself way ahead of them, Indo-European and so on. But nevertheless, just because I'm a darker complexion, I come from Romania, I'm not a white to some, which is fine. It's fine, according to our understanding. So, according to my understanding from these people here that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I would give Jared Taylor a 7 out of 10. The next one, EO, I don't think there's a problem, but I will just say EO, I will give him a 4. Then I will go to others. Let me see which one. I'm not going to mention the other ones. The British guy, the English guy was good. Then we have KD. No, I don't think so. Then we have FRD on Sunday. He was very good, very good. And SD, not that good. But anyway, if I get the British guy, so yes, MC. MC was the best speaker. I know, and he's considered the worst by the media, the worst. But he was the best. I give him a 10. Jared Taylor, I give him a 7. Then RD on Sunday, I give him a 2. Because everybody else goes like negative after that. Negative 20, negative 50, negative 1000. Why did I mention this? Because I was very disappointed with the selection of the speakers. Not because their appearance or anything like that, not because their speech impediments or, lack of balls, some of them, but because this American Renaissance Conference occurs once a year. Not every 4 years, like a world tournament in football. In football, every 4 years, the best teams are selected through their competition to represent their countries over there and wins the World Cup. Well, this was the American Renaissance Conference 2025 World Cup. So I expected to be amazed by the speakers. And you heard me. The English guy, MC, was the guy who really, I liked him a lot. Why? He had balls, he had knowledge, he had knowledge not only on the issue, he was asked questions, he knew how to answer that. He was charismatic, he was good, very good. I like him. I'm planning on contacting him, and maybe he's gonna close my channel. Why? Because you're gonna find him online, and he is a neo-conservative, neocon, if you know what I mean. So, according to the media, now, I'm disappointed with the people who were invited. Very disappointed. I think it was for me, was an intellectual insult. But hey, I said, that's their organization, but that's what they have. This is their world tournament. These are the finals. Now, there were some people over there who were really at a high school level. I'm not going to mention you the name because I don't want to embarrass them, but they know who they are, with a PowerPoint presentation telling us how to succeed in the society, in the politics. A big mistake that I realized in this organization is they still believe in the power and authority as being legal in this way. The Democrats and the Republicans. The only person who said something about there's no difference or about it was Mr. MC. The other guys, they were talking about the Republicans, and Jared Taylor in charge, he never said at all, guys, stop. There's no such a thing, only in name. No, they were seriously talking about that. I don't think they do not understand that. First point. Secondly, they talked about Trump as if Trump was his own man. Like Trump was really in charge. I was amazed by this lack of understanding. All of them over there. All of them. There were, again, MC was the only one who called them out and said, no, they are in charge. And very interesting, whenever the word Jew or Jewish or came into someone's used in their speech, there were a lot of cheerings over there. I'm talking about bad connotation. I'm not saying about the Jews are fantastic. They didn't mean that. They meant something else. The Jews are in control of these kind of things. A lot of people cheered. Oh yeah, like good job, man, telling us the truth. Jared Taylor did not like that. Jared Taylor would not touch them with a 10-foot long pole. And I found out why. I'm not going to say it because I want you to look deeper. And that was revealed to me by accident, by a person that I met at the conference. I'm not going to mention his name, but I would like to get in touch with him again. I didn't get his contact information. His name tag, he had just, I'm going to use this initial D from Teddy. Okay, D. Please contact me. Contact me if you want at 15th Truth and Justice. gmail.com. That's me. Send me an email over there. I would like to talk to you because you know a lot of things. And he told me one of Jared Taylor's acquaintances. And that says, okay. I realized that, like for instance, you have J.D. Vance. I will just give you a clue. J.D. Vance is married with an Indian woman, correct? Correct. Do you think that he's going to say anything about Indian people? Okay, and that's as far as I'm going to go to why Jared Taylor publicly, when he was asked about the Jews, he said that the Jews look white to me. That was Jared Taylor, the fact-based, intelligent. Was the worst of the worst that he could say. When asked about the Jews, instead of saying, no, they play, he said something like that, but he said, they look white to me. That was his explanation why he doesn't see any issue over there. Now, I'm sorry, but it was a toddler explanation coming from Jared Taylor. Very smart. He knows better. He was afraid or whatever. He doesn't touch the subject. People invited here touched the subject and they received great ovation from the population. That is, Jared Taylor is outside of reality with his own group, I would say. Now, it doesn't mean that those guys coming over there were representative of, I was about to say National Alliance, but we're going to get to that one, American Renaissance, but still, those were the people who participated at the World Tournament, where you pay hundreds of dollars to participate, you expose yourself. Now, just to tell you how baboons people are. This HW guy that I'm going to talk later, the guy who called me a clown, and I'm going to repeat that more and more, he said that he's not his name, his real name. And I said, Mr. Pop. May I speak? That's not my real name. Why do you bother to have a other name here when you're gonna drive a car? When I'm gonna go, if I want to find out each person who he is, I'm gonna film all the license plate of the cars over there. So before, just so you know, when you get to this location, you have to go through a barrage of police and protesters who videotape you, take pictures of your license plates and so on. So they could know who you are. I'm Emil Kosman. I participated. Okay? All right. Right here. But no, the other guys hid under my name is D, my name is Mikey, my name is Tom Jones, my name is Elvis, and you can check them when they get out. You film all their license plate, or being infiltrated, film all the cars, videotape all the cars' license plate, and then you run them to the Social Security. Secretary of State. I worked in this. It's very easy. You just submit a request. I would like to run me all these license plates and tell me who owns them. And you find out who owns them. So meet Mr. HR, who is probably well known by sending emails to everybody. You know who the person is. But nevertheless, he didn't put his right name. That's why I'm going to refer to him on that. So people who came with different numbers, unless it was one driving a car with 10 baboons in, then they know. They know the emails you received, just so you know who you are. They know who you are. Not only by being infiltrated over there, they know beforehand who you are. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. It's a matter of time when you rock the boat too much, when they're going to show up and say, you are a racist, and you're supposed to hide. They will never attack your ideas. They will not say, that's not true, that's wrong. They will say, you are anti-Semite, you are a racist, you are xenophobe, but that's it. Meant to hurt your feelings, meant to lose the debate, as Jared Taylor stated. All right, so this is with this. Remember, I'm not here to hurt the organization. Not at all. On the contrary, I'm here to emphasize misgivings that need to be changed, in my assessment, which are dragging down an organization which I think is hijacked. That's how I think. So you better change this kind of things if you want. It's not my organization. Go ahead. I'm just telling you publicly and in the name of truth That's one of the reasons why I'm making this video. It's not because I want to criticize that guy who called me a clown. It's personal. No, but this is much, much bigger than Gerald Taylor, and the guys over there, the baboons. It's an idea. It's something. I don't want to take a, on it. That's their, how did I put it? Their legacy. That's their destiny, however you want to call it. It's their road, not mine. I am like this. I was, but unfortunately, I'm very disappointed. So, again, I'm here for the truth. I decided to share my understanding, how much I have. And being more than 50 years old, college educated, and living in a few countries and rubbing shoulders and being in many, many situations, I think I have more experience than all these baboons around me in order to speak. It doesn't mean that I have a big experience. I understood what's going on, but just listen to what I have to say, okay? And you pick whatever, and all I want you to do is this. If you don't believe me, and I don't want you to believe me, I want you to verify. You go after this video, and after you ask me the questions on Monday or Tuesday on my live show, all right? I want you to go and pay the hundreds of dollars to participate in this conference and see if I was wrong, if I was lying. And I guarantee you, you will not find that I was lying. The same thing, when someone says, hey, Gigi is bad, don't believe me. I want you to go over there and verify. Befriend Gigi and see how good Gigi really is. That's the best way. It happened in life, in my life. I had good friends and they stabbed me in the back. I said, okay, that's it, bye-bye. No? And then people said, oh, how nice is Gigi? I said, do you think he's nice? Yeah. All right. Well, I think he's a piece of shit. Oh, no, Emil, why do you say that? Well, you don't believe me. Go and befriend him until he's going to stab you in the back. And that's exactly what had happened. The same here. Don't believe me? Go and participate or pay attention to what I'm about to say. All right. So how did it start? Questions. I went to ask a question because I don't like people who just make statements and run. I want clarifications, and my clarifications are direct because I don't like to beat around the bushes. I don't like hints much unless I have to hide, otherwise these guys are going to arrest me. I have to give you hints then. But over there, I could speak freely, which I thought I could. So I went over there to ask a question to Gerald Taylor, my first question, because he was the first person to speak on Friday evening, and this HW came and said, don't make a speech, just ask one question, then I'll ask question. Now, obviously, you want to put the question in context. You're not going to have a lecture over there, but he stood next to me right here as those military police at Nuremberg trials with the Nazis. Remember? I wanted to watch, go on YouTube, I think it's still there, watch, what's his name, Rudolf Hess. And when Rudolf Hess reads his statement, next to him right here, leaning into him, is a thug American MP. And he is trying to intimidate by leaning into him. That's how this midget, I'm sorry, no, he was not a gentleman. This man was right here. What he was about to do. I can poke him in the eye and he would be down there squeaking. But nevertheless, it's not about violence or anything like that. But he thought he's going to intimidate. So I asked the question to the shortest that I could and leaving the context out. The flavor, I would say. Because this is how you ask a question. You take something from the speaker's statements and say, you stated A, B, C, D, 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 and then you say, what about this? Which will contradict what he said. Therefore, you give him an opportunity to think on the spot, if he never thought, and say, oh, okay, he got me. What did I mean? All right, and you give a chance to the speaker to explain himself. Because the way it sounded wrong. So that's why I asked the questions I asked. I give them the opportunity to say, oops, maybe this is wrong, I should not say it again. Or be a weasel and try to fool the audience and Emil answering in a weasel way. That's why you have to put it in the context. This guy did not understand that, just so you know. All right, so I asked the questions, and again, a lot of people whispered, good questions, Emil. All right, here's my name. Good question. No problem, good question, not good question. I had this kind of good question thing in my life many times when they would come in private and say, good question, yeah, good, yeah. But when the audience is, they don't know you. You know what it is? This is my name. What's your name? All right. So, questions. And how did it all start? I started having a little bit of I thought I'm going to go over there and I have free speech. Why? Because these guys are the victims. The grand society, the mainstream media, these weasels are censoring them, are not allowing them to have free speech. They call them these guys names. And I thought they will be totally opposed to that. They will not censor anybody. They will be open. They will be ballsy. They will call the things as they are. They didn't. By the first question when I asked, I realized that these guys don't want me to ask questions. They were not concerned about the length. Just so you know, I got to know that later. All right, so this big ballroom, it had on three sides tables. And different organizations, different people were selling their messages, stickers, flags, books. I bought one book. I was very familiar with many books over there, just so you know. I bought one book that Dr. William mentioned, and I said, well, I can print it if I want it from the internet, but let's give these guys $20. So I gave them $20 for this book. All right? You Gentiles. And what I realized later, I didn't know, the introduction is written by none other than, so the foreword by Kevin McDonald, Dr. Kevin McDonald, whom I interviewed on my show, and the author of this fantastic book, The Culture of Critique. I want you all to read it and make Mr. Kevin McDonald rich, okay? As long as there's going to be a lot of people watching my video, obviously. So I was very excited when I saw that the foreword was by Kevin McDonald. There you go. I will talk about Dr. Kevin McDonald's maybe some other time, but in this video I will talk about Jared Taylor and the situation. So you have these tables all around. So you go and see them, talk to the people. And one of these tables had the Organization of National Alliance. Now, for people outside of this circle, they consider National Alliance a racist, Nazi, and the leader is Dr. William Pierce, the bad dude. But again, I would like you to listen and not necessarily read the two books that he wrote. And this is the problem. Turner's Diaries and Hunter. Right? These are the books that Dr. William Pierce wrote, I don't know, in the 70s or something like that. All right? That's his books. And National Alliance was his group, like the American Renaissance. Now, Dr. William Pierce, for me, as the way he talked and what is here, and Jared Taylor is somewhere, okay? He's very good, Jared Taylor. But you see? All right, you can put Mr. Lincoln Rockwell somewhere here. Again, all these are bad dudes. Now you want David Duke somewhere, you know what I mean? All right, this is, in my view, this is the intelligence I see. I'm not saying they're not bad dudes. They're all evil guys. Nobody should listen to them. Got that? Okay, YouTube? Bad guys. I don't promote them. But I hope they all burn in hell. In the Jewish hell, by the way. Not in Valhalla or anything like that, or in Hades. No, because we borrowed their... Again, they're all talking about Christianity over there. And I was like, don't you realize that you're talking about that is not yours? But hey, whatever. They are entitled to believe in whatever they want. So let's go back to National Alliance. So National Alliance was allowed to have a little table selling of all kind of videos, audiobooks, and I was looking and interacted with the people. And Dr. William Pierce, did you know? Yes, who's in charge? This guy right here, Will Williams, spoke with him, spoke with his girlfriend, I spoke with them. You know, I spoke with many people, not only with these guys. Don't get the impression. And at one point, one of these men, because I don't know if they were gentlemen or not, they were men, told me that, or I said, I can't remember how the conversation, but he said, well, we couldn't put on the table Dr. William Pierce's books, Turner's Diaries and Hunter. I gotta tell you, I didn't like the Turner's Diary. I started reading, actually audio, but I didn't like it. I don't like stories. I'm more like in 1945, in the 2nd of September, on the, I don't know, in the Yokohama Bay, the Japanese signed the unconditional surrender to the Americans. Papa, that's how I like it. I don't like, yes, and he wore some red pants with a cock or something. I don't care about those things. Or the weather and the wind was blowing. I don't like these kind of things. For me, are extra. I want information. I want knowledge, straight and naked, if you know what I mean. So I said, what do you mean? And I said, well, Mr. H.W., the clown, remember, said we are not allowed to have them on the table. But hey, I have them under the table. I said, so he told you, he censored you. He said that those books of that guy, remember, should not be put on the table. You cannot offer them for the public to decide if they want them or they not. Remember, this is exactly what happened to the American Renaissance from outside. They ban them, they censor, and they do the same thing with these guys. You know what the reason was? These guys are neo-Nazis. These are Nazis. That was the answer. They are Nazis. That's why we don't do it. It's a Nazi book. But the CNN, MSNBC, and these guys right here, they call these guys that name. This is Gerald Taylor, the first one, white supremacist. And you can find here if you want. I disagree with that. I disagree with this characterization. That's why when I interviewed Mr. Gerald Taylor, I asked him, how would you introduce yourself? I don't care how they introduce yourself. I want to know how you introduce yourself. Please do. Go and watch my video with him. Why? Because I know people will skew and they will characterize it the way they want. But this guy characterized the National Alliance as being Nazis. Exactly how the guys outside protesting this Renaissance conference considered them Nazis. So they censored these guys as the other guys are censoring them. And I said, I can't believe this. Who did this? He said, H.W. told us not. I said, okay. And that's when I met Mr. H.W., the guy who was standing here. And I'm more like here. Okay. He's not tall. He's like this and losing hair. All right. Nothing wrong with that. But shave that hair, man. Don't try to do a kind of rat's nest to hide your baldness. It's nothing wrong with that. Just shave your head and that's it. You're gonna look like a dick, but that's fine. You act like one as well. Just kidding. Just kidding. So what happened? I went and said, hey, H, reading his thing. I think that was his real name. I said, and tried to make a joke because I knew more than he knew about what my joke. He didn't get my joke. You remember how Adolf Hitler's compound in Poland was named? That was called Wolf's Lair with a W. And remember how was Hitler's code name or his name? He called himself Wolf. So I made quickly pack, 2 jokes with Poland and with that, and he didn't catch them because I'm guessing he was not aware of those kind of things because he's not a neo-Nazi. Only those guys are. And he said, and I said, well, I talked with those guys, and can you explain why? And in the weasel fashion of people who don't have an answer, he said that that's legal implications. You know, like I tell you, legal implications. And I said, like what? What exactly? Well, you can't. That's a Nazi book promoting violence. I said, okay, what do you mean? You said, you're calling them as the other guys are calling you. Can you see the irony? He said, you know what? I'm not talking to you about this. I'm not talking to you. And he left. He left me over there. He didn't want to explain to me because he didn't have an answer. And he knew he couldn't face the answer. He didn't have the answer. He left. I said, okay, that's very nice. That tells me something is not kosher here. So I said, no problem. I will ask Gerald Taylor himself. So I was waiting and Gerald Taylor was busy at that time, and I asked one of his generals over there, an older guy. And I asked him, what do you think about this situation? In the way to Gerald Taylor. And he told me those are Nazis, and if you want to be with the Nazis, you go with the Nazis. So I was, man, there's a second person talking like this. They are called Nazis by CNN and all these guys, an anti-Semite. And they called those guys the same thing? And something is wrong here. Wrong here. Let that book over there. Let it be over there. Right, and eventually I got to, let me see if I get it right. I got to, obviously, shake hands and ask him exactly on the podium that question of Jared Taylor. Now, I gotta tell you that before I got there, this old guy already spoke, because I am observant. You work in certain kind of jobs, you develop certain traits. You don't develop, you improve them. So I watched the old guy, he went straight to Jared Taylor, talked to him, pointed towards the National Alliance booth. Jared Taylor turned around, did like this, and they were talking, and the guy was looking for me, and I did like this. That old guy already briefed the boss that the bad guy might come and ask uncomfortable questions. So right there on the podium, I asked Mr. Jared Taylor, who in his civilized and nice way asked me, did you read Turner's Diary? I know he read them. I know he did. Okay? So I said, well, yeah, I read them. He said, well, that, what was his expression? That promotes violence and terrorism. Do you know that? And my comeback was, yes, but the Bible does the same thing. If you just pick certain things from certain books, definitely you're going to find that. In the Bible, if you have Moses, he committed genocide. So the Bible, the Old Testament, promotes genocide and xenophobia and racism and adultery and incest. These are not new things. And I guarantee you that Jared Taylor would have no problem having the Old Testament or the Talmud or the New Testament on the tables over there. I have 2 books written, actually 1 book with 2 volumes. God's Nature. Go and buy them. All of them is an order. Talking about exactly that. How the Bible tells us something, but actually if you read their little verses, it's something else. Or not something else. It adds flavor, if you know what I mean. So when I started telling Jared Taylor about the Bible and that, you know what he did? He turned around and he started talking with other people. Okay. This is the debater. Maybe he doesn't take it that way, but it's exactly. So I was on the podium with him turned towards some other people. So the conversation was over. Now, what would you do? Well, definitely you would say, I thought you like not debates, you like the truth. I thought that you like to discuss things. You don't run for, especially when you know you're right. And after all, the Jews look white to me. That was his explanation, remember? So he stopped talking to me at that point. Not that the conversation was over, he decreed. Why? Because he did not have an answer. He lost it. He didn't call me names like the other guy at the party. All right, let's move on. I said I was very, very upset. And then it was the banquet. The banquet, I had some very good conversations over there. I have to mention this person. I don't know his name. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I think it was just his first name. Not from Return to the Land movement with Eric. He was one of the speakers. I don't know his name. Eric Orwell. He had a speech over there. I was not impressed. I was ready to ask him questions. There were no questions for Mr. Eric Orwell. I would have asked him a few questions, but again, there were no questions. I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. A lot of people asked me, what other question did you ask? You want to ask? I didn't get a chance to ask Jared. I didn't get a chance to ask another question or a question to Mr. Eric Orwell. But this person who sat with me at a table during the banquet, he was fantastic. Fantastic. There were 2 people. One tried to convince me that it's fantastic, and this person from the Return to the Land I give him a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I know you want to see this video, now you see it because I had a conversation with you. All right, so then we went to the banquet. The banquet I think I'm going to go and drink some wine. Winder. A banquet. It was at one of the whatever. And I went over there. And I wanted to, ask questions and discuss and so on. So I saw Mr. K. Mr. K, I think D. KD, aren't you? No, yeah, KD or KDA, how you want to call him. Kind of like the second in command that spoke. He had a little speech. I think it was on Sunday evening. And I thought that this was wrong. I went to, when was this? I think when I went, before I asked him about the National Alliance, the books, Jared Taylor on that podium, I think I told him this, and these are the words I told him. I'm very concerned with you and your organization. I think this organization, your work will die as National Alliance died after Dr. William Pierce died. And he said, do you think so? That's how I said, yes. I think you are in the position of Julius Caesar, and around you are a lot of Brutuses who are going to stab you or let you die, and they will run your work to the ground. That's what I think. That's what I told him face to face. That's why I like face-to-face interactions, because I look at people. I don't do this or do this, because you're a human being. You look in my eyes. And he said, dismiss me, which I said, I hope it doesn't happen. But by what I saw here and the people around you, most likely that's going to happen. This is my prediction. Once Gerald Taylor dies, this organization in 1 year is going to be gone. I hope not. And I hope it gets stronger. But this is my current assessment. And at the party, I met Mr. KDA. All right, the second in command. And I give him this. He talked to me till the end. He did not run away, which I give him this. But you know why I gave you this? You know why I think he stood. And I invite him to come to my show if he wants. I'm all for it. You already know my email. He said, look for me. I'm not going to look for you. You look for me. I don't think you're important. You're important that I think you're going to cut Jared Taylor's legs. That's what I said. I told him that. So I appreciate his boldness in a way that he stood and talked to me through all my questions, very uncomfortable questions. And I tell you why I think he spoke with me. And this is an interpretation. I might be wrong, but that's the way I took it. And I tell you why. It's like those, and I'm not implying he is one of those. Please remember this. But some people are caught during an investigation, the alleged perpetrators or the suspects, when they are too cocky and they think they're smart, that you can't catch them, and they get caught. This is what I think Mr. K did with me. That's why he would not leave me like the other guy, because he thought that there's no way that he cannot fool me with his hanky-panky. That's why I think he stood with me and got everything I had to give him. All right? But what did I get out of Mr. K? I told him exactly that. You are going to be Brutus. You're going to run down this organization. Now you can say, Emil, you're a piece of shit. Why would you ask this? Why not? It's about the truth. I want this changed. My assessment of this is exactly that. And I told him face to face. He could say, well, yeah, why is that? And I explained. I said, okay, what would you do? Tell me concretely, what would you do? What will you do after Jared Taylor dies? Tell me, what will you do? Oh, yeah, he did this many times before, but he was not asked follow-up questions like I did. Therefore, he said, yeah, I tell you. I do this, and this. He told me 3 things. And after he gave me those 3 things, general things, like we're going to expand people will going to hear from us and things like this. We're going to do some fundraising. Remember the word fundraising was fundraising. All right, remember those? He gave me this and another one. And I said, okay, what prevented you from doing it now? Why do you only went after he dies? Well, and he started then to turn it. Well, the question is, I said, no, you heard my question. 4 times I had to turn him back, grab him because he was trying to redirect my questions to somewhere where he was comfortable talking about. I said, no, you heard my question. That's my question. What stopped you, prevented you to implement these three things as of now? And he said, well, Jared doesn't like, no, he said, I know Jared for 4 years. I know Gerald. Like, oh my God. All right. I said, I know Jared for 20 years. We go fishing, I said. We go with the ladies of the night. You don't know anything about, I know about Jared more than you do. We're friends, man. We're buddies. We used to smoke all kind of shit. I was making up shit because I worked in the system. And he was intimidated because he thought that mentioning that he knows Jared for 4 years, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, you have the authority to tell me. No, I have the authority. I know Jared for 20 years, man. We've been fishing together. We've been fucking together. I lied. Why? Like the police, like the detectives do. They lie, so you get caught. And I got him. He was all, he didn't know if I was telling the truth. And then I said, you said that Jared is against fundraising? He said, yeah, he didn't let me. Well, let's ask Gerald. Jared, he called Jared, who was next, about, 5 feet from us, standing up, speaking. Jared complied with Kay's order. Okay, he called him nicely. Jared showed up, and in front of me, I said, are you against fundraising? That's the words he used. And Jared said, no, I'm not. Well, Kay said you are. And he said, no, I'm not. When? And then Kay started browbeating in front of me, Jared Taylor. In front of me. And Jared Taylor was, no, in front. This is how I saw it. I'm sorry I didn't videotape that, but I would not play it anyway. And then Jared said, no, it's a misunderstanding. I said, no, it was no misunderstanding whatsoever. He said, you are against fundraising. I asked you in front of him, and another person who was sitting down, I befriended one, said, are you against fundraising? And you said, no. Where's the misunderstanding? I'm sure it was the misunderstanding. And I said, no, he lied. No, he didn't. I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. No, you have to have the balls and look at this guy and say, what are you talking about? Sit down. But he didn't. He closed his eyes and he walked away. And Kay sat down to continue the conversation with me. So who's in charge? I'm sorry to share this with you, but I think that you need some direct experience. And let me tell you, when Mr. HW showed up, because I was talking with Kay, and I said about the same thing with National Alliance. And he tried to argue a little bit. I said, who said those guys should not have those books on the table? Kay told me, the second in command. Actually, the guy in command. I got to understand by that interaction in front of me, while I was sitting down and then I stood up and I was like, this is the guy, browbeats this guy right here. He's in charge. K is in charge. K is in charge. KDA. All right, KDA. And I said, who said the books cannot be placed on the table? I said, that guy over there. You see that guy over there? He was in the. We were on the patio outside, and the guy was inside the kitchen. And when the guy came, I said, call him. He called the guy. Come over here. He showed up, and he said, this guy, me, said that you, and you know what this guy said? I'm not talking, he's a clown. The guy, HW, said that that's when he said, I'm a clown, in front of his boss. He's not going to talk to me about something that should be very clearly explained. Not legal implications. There's not enough. Tell me, what kind of law? What kind of legal implications? Will get sued? I said, you are already at the bottom of the bottom. You have nothing to lose. They could designate you at any time an enemy of the United States of America, and they close you today. You have nothing to lose anymore. Be yourselves. No. He said, no, this is a clown, I'm not talking. This guy. Remember Jared Taylor? Once you start calling people names, you lost the debate. So this is what happened. I thank, I was about to say his name, Kay, very much again for because he stood over there. He didn't run away like the other guy, but because I think he thought that he will smack me around. And I had a conversation with him straight, face to face, close. He was closing his eyes and all that, but he stood over there. I appreciate that. Well, that's about it about this organization. Now, what did I get out of this as a conclusion? I found out that Gigi and Tina are not my biological parents, but instead Deshaun and Shankanika. And I'm shocked. And I thought I should share this with you. And you have all the right in the world to doubt me. You don't know me. You think I'm working for other interests. Maybe I have a poor understanding on the issue. I want you to do this. Everything I told you, I want you to go and pay attention. If you follow the issue and you follow the organization, if you follow it, I want you to follow the points I made in this video. And it's easy for you to identify who KDA is. It's very easy to identify who Mr. HW is. It's very easy. Remember, this ballsy guy, HW, he didn't have his name on the name tag. If I want, I can find his name. I can find his real name. He told me that he's not his real name. I can find his... Do you think this guy's... So what's the purpose of this? My name is Tom Jones. I can find your fucking email, man. I can go through email. I can go through a license plate. I can go through many other ways to find who you are. God damn it. Anyway, and I asked... I was about, again, to tell the number 2 name. Number 2 poop name. I'm sorry. It was just a joke, okay? Just a joke. I know you're watching. So I asked him, when you guys, you're infiltrated, correct? Correct. You're monitored, correct? I said, do you have any record, check, ways to check people, to go and see who's coming, who's going? Do you have anything like an intelligence service here? Anything like... I was giving them some clues. And he said, no. I was, oh my God, we're even worse than I thought. It was very good organized. They were punctual. They were on time, Jared Taylor. But, at one point, punctuality, if destroys the art, then it's useless. But nevertheless, sometimes you have to be flexible. Nevertheless, it was good. I like that. They required all of us to come in suit and tie so we don't look like Nazis. That's my add-on. Okay, which I'm okay. I would have showed up anyway like that. Maybe not with a tie, but definitely with a button shirt and a sports jacket and something else. But nevertheless, I like that. It showed a decent over there, and I like that. But the problem is, there was the appearance. You had a... how do you call it? A Gestapo guy over here. You have the other guy who thinks that he's going to do it because he's smarter than you. You got the other guy who's... I realized in life, one of the points I realized in life is that balls are more important than brains. That's why in our Western civilization, our Greco-Roman civilization, courage is the first, not wisdom or moderation or temperation or whatever. No, courage is the pinnacle, the maximum, the first virtue. Why? Because without courage, you are inhibiting yourself from doing anything that your brain might think. I can understand, like the person next to me right here, and others. They understand the situation. But because they don't have courage to ask questions. They don't have courage to debate. They don't have courage to challenge people. They don't have courage to beat and respond in self-defense. They don't have courage. Therefore, they will be understanding slaves. So, again, was a good experience. I will never go over there again. Unless they want me to come and speak, then I will come. Otherwise, I will never attend that. I hope you go and attend that one. And make your own assessment. Other than that, disappointed on the level of the guys invited to speak. 90% of them should not have been speaking over there. Jared Taylor, I don't know. I'm going to give you this. And this is not what I believe or what I think about it. This is not a conclusion. This is a scenario. You can't be an imbecile to just say, oh, that's the way it is. Might be this, might be that. Movements are hijacked. All right? And that's the easiest way to keep the baboons at ease or relaxed by thinking they are in control. Like, for instance, they allowed Donald Trump to win. That's my opinion, assessment. They allowed Donald Trump to win to appease the angry mob, angry for good reason, but redirected the anger towards Biden when it was the guys in charge of Biden, Democrats and Republicans. There's no such a thing. Democrats, Republicans, it's only one party. That's what it is. And these guys in the American Renaissance, they did not make that clear. They were talking about we have the Democrats over there, we got the Republicans over here. What? This is toddler ABC 1, 2, 3. I mean, this is politics 101 if you want. So, these guys, I think they're infiltrated and they are hijacked. That could be one other scenario. That is, like they have Donald Trump, everybody, yes, Trump, make America great. And Donald Trump shows you he's actually not making America great, makes someone else from the Middle East greater, and we just are used like baboons. That's what I think it is. So yes, we won, democracy won. No, they allowed the guy to win, they appeased one side of the population. And the point is, the system works. The same here. You have the National Alliance, you have the return to the land. I have a lot of things to talk about that, return to the land, but I don't know. I don't know if I would rather speak with the person, but I don't think he wants to come over here and speak with me. But with Mr. Eric Orwell, I don't know. I wanted to ask him questions. He was not allowed to be asked questions, but I would like to talk to him. And yeah, maybe I will try to invite him here. I'm not sure he's going to come and talk to me because he talks about law, about legal premises. He talks about freedom, our rights. He talks about the government cannot force us. Things like, again, I think this should have been learned when you are about 12. So that's why when I would speak, if I would speak, I don't think he would like to speak to me because I'm going to ask him some direct questions, and people don't like to be asked direct questions. Eric Orwell, I would ask him some questions clearly. And the question is, one of them, what happens when you rock the boat and they put you in illegality? What will you do? What's the next step? You know what he's going to say? They can't do this. Oh, I would say COVID. Remember what they did to COVID? Oh, they can't forcefully integrate us. Really? What was in the 50s? Forced integration. Oh, everything has a precedent. All the laws could be broken, bent, or changed by them. And you can just continue to suck one. This is easy, but he was telling us about all these legal terms, and it's no, we have to work with our congressmen, again, Republicans and Democrats. Can you believe that? This is really, I don't want to say more because I'm going to say worse things. Truthful things, but worse. I don't want to embarrass people. So come over and talk to me, Eric. I will find you and I will invite you, and I will let everybody know that I invite you, and I invited Kay, and I invited Jared Taylor if he wants. Again, I am all for it. And we can discuss, not necessarily about this. We can discuss other issues. I don't have to expose anybody or ask questions because usually that's how you do. That's how I do. Before we record a video, I speak with the person and I say, okay, or I send some questions. I said, be prepared. This will be kind of the questions I'm going to ask you. This is what I do. And if I have others, I will ask him, how about this? And he can say, well, why? You don't want the people to, you don't want to attack them. When I write my list, it's attack, not attack. I want to find out. And if you consider it an attack, so be it. But I give you the questions. You can say yay and nay. And I know you're running away. All right. Okay. So again, I will invite all these guys with time, or they can invite themselves. I'm ready to speak with all these guys. Why? I want you to explain to them, not to me. I already found out Shankenika and Deshaun are my parents. For me, is no way turning back. And besides, what that not clown, how do you call this? Comedian, female comedian, she was right. Now that the Anglo-Saxons are in short stock, they included us, the Eastern European, in the wide stock. That's exactly what I felt. And I never felt like this before. Never felt like this before. Well, it's all right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Remember, I will make a live video, probably on this Monday or this Tuesday. I will let you know. I will put that on my program. I'm all sweaty here. I will put that in my, you're going to find out, and you ask me any question you want. I don't know if I'm going to answer questions, because if you ask me who's K, who's I may confirm certain things, but I will not, you can ask me questions. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Remember, I made this video because I want that organization, that ideal, to succeed. And I think as we are, Caesar and Brutus are over there, and maybe hijacked, the whole thing. And when I say hijack, I'm not accusing Gerald Taylor necessarily, but be careful, pay attention, pay attention. Why can't you just call the origin or one of the origins? I'm not expecting you to say only those guys are the ones. Because that's not what it is. It's not what it is. They're part of the problem. He will not dare to do it. Well, as I said, look into J.D. Vance and his wife's issue and you understand. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.